What's up, ballers? My name is Cory, and welcome back to another prediction video with Ballers on a Budget. Today, I'm going to try to predict the first round of the NBA playoffs. Now, today's going to be a little different than probably most videos that you see. I'm going to predict two because I'm kind of running short on time. My son has a baseball game to go to, so I'm going to predict the two that I have ready, and then I'm going to come back, and then we'll finish out the west side. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it. The first matchup that I'm going to start with is Mavs at Clippers. The Clippers are coming into this playoff matchup 10th in points per game, and they allow the 6th fewest points in the league right now. They were 47 and 25 at the end of the regular season and have a home record of 26 and 10. Clippers have the best 3-point percentage, being 14 of 35, a top 5 field goal percentage, being 14 and 34. And they also have the top free throw percentage at 83.9%. You also got Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, he's putting up 24, 6, and 5. And when he's in the paint, he's shooting about 50%. When he gets to the restricted area, that percentage goes up to 75.1%. So pretty much, in other words, don't let Kawhi drive. If you do, it's points going to the Clippers. I don't think Dallas has, and I like Dallas, I don't think they have that good of a defense. I know it's pretty decent, but I don't think they have that good of a defense to stop something like that. Once he drives in, obviously, it's either you just let him get those points or he dishes it out to an open man. Paul George putting up 23, 6, and 5 in the regular season against Dallas. He's averaging 19, 5, and 4, shooting 35% from 3 and 37% from the field. DeMarcus Cousins in his last 2 games against Dallas averaged 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists. Now, I mentioned a few of those player stats because that's what concerns me with Dallas. I feel like Luka is the rise and fall of this team. If he's having a bad day, if he's having a good day and he puts up good numbers, then the team actually has a shot of winning. If Luka is off and his shots aren't falling and he gets into a little bit of foul trouble, maybe he needs to sit a little bit longer than normal, his numbers start to drop, and so does that chance of winning that game. To me, Luka is this Mavs team right now. If the Mavs want any chance of making it past this first round, they're going to need a lot of help from KP, Hardaway Jr., Jalen Brunson. They all just need to perform. So that's kind of where I'm leaning at this matchup right now. Now, like I said, I do like to root for Luka. I do want to see him do well for Dallas because he is one of my favorite players in the league right now. But I think this team is still probably a couple years away from making a good, deep playoff run. I'm going to say Clippers winning the series, probably 4-3, and move on to the second round. So I'm going to put Clippers where they go, 4-3. Next matchup, I got Trailblazers at Nuggets. Let's take a trip back in time. Tuesday, February 23rd. For the Nuggets, Hampton, because of a coach decision, he did not play. Joker played 38 minutes, went 17 for 32 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3, and 4 for 4 from the free throw line. When all was said and done, he ended up totaling 41 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Jamal Murray contributed 24 points, and Michael Porter Jr. threw in 12. They ended up beating the shorthanded Portland team, 111 to 106. Portland was without Nurkic due to a fractured right wrist, and C.J. McCollum out with a fractured foot. Jump ahead about 2 months, April 21st. The first rematch, Portland has their guys back and they're ready to go. Lillard, 22, 4, and 5. McCollum, 14, 9, and 5. Nurkic played 29 minutes, put up 8, 7, and 6. As a team, they shot 40 of 87 from the field, 12 of 36 from 3, and had 38 points in the paint. Nuggets were just a little better in every category, and they ended up winning 106 to 105. Again, let's jump ahead. I guess not really ahead. Let's go back to the end of the regular season. Sunday, May 16th. The main three for Portland all averaged about 20 to 24 points. Lillard had 10 assists in 31 minutes. McCollum was 5 of 9 from 3 in 31 minutes, and Nurkic had 13 rebounds in about 20 minutes. On the other side of things, and you'll see why I mentioned those minutes in a second. On the other side of things, Joker at the end of the season, obviously they're already in the playoffs. Minutes restriction. He only played 17 minutes. But he did put up 21 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. The only other players to come close was Howard with 23, 4, and 3 in 32 minutes. And Paul Millsap, 12, 2, and 2 in 17 minutes as well. Both of them coming off of the bench that night. Nuggets did end up losing that one. 132 to 116. So based on these 3 games, I saw a Portland team that was banged up for the first game. They ended up losing by 5. Both teams were healthy for this second game rematch. And it ended up with the Nuggets winning by 1. The third game, if you just look at the score, just look at those stats and say, hey, they ended up winning, good for Portland for getting that win against a team like the Nuggets. But you got to ask yourself, who did they really play? They sat their Nuggets sat their starters for pretty much more than half of the game, that second half of the game. Now, this collection of information that I just kind of rattled off, this is what I'm going to base my prediction off of. And I do think Portland has a good enough team and is perfectly capable of moving on to this next round. But I think the Joker and the Nuggets are going to take this series, again, 4-3, and Nuggets move on into that second round. 4-3, Nuggets moving on. Okay, so, and I apologize, I'm running out of time. That is all that I'm going to do for now. I will be back as soon as I can to get these other 2 matchups and get this first round done. So after I get back, I'll record the next round and we'll finish the West. But for now, my name is Cory with Ballers on a Budget. Don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to comment down below with your picks and who you have moving on to that second round. We'll see you in the next one. What's up, Ballers? For the second time today, sorry about the long break in the video. Well, long for me, short for you, only a few seconds. Like I said before, my son had a baseball game. He did end up winning 14-11, so I'm pretty excited about that. Let's just get back into predicting this first round of the playoffs. And just so you know, I have not watched any or seen any info on the games that may have been played before this video does get uploaded. I just want to be transparent with you, and I want my initial guesses and predictions to be as genuine as possible. So here we go. I already covered these first two games, and now we're going to finish this up. The first matchup of the second half of this video is Jazz at Grizzlies. Grizzlies are coming into this matchup fresh off of a great win against the Warriors. They did exactly what they needed to. They pressured the shooter and contested those three-point shots, played well in the paint, and defensively they could not be stopped. Bunch of turnovers on Warriors' side of things, which resulted in points going the other way, which is great for Grizzlies. All in all, it's a good win for Memphis, but this matchup may be a little different for them. Grizzlies obviously have a very good defense, but they are going up against Utah, who is fourth in points, putting up about 116 points a game, and fifth on defense, only allowing 108. Donovan Mitchell, I saw the other day that he is planning to be back in this lineup for the game. Now, I'm not sure how likely that is. Utah, they did win their last three meetings between these two teams in the regular season. 2 games by 3 or 4 points, and 1 by a little more than 10. I think these two teams match up well on paper, but when it comes down to it, I think Memphis will come up a little short. I'm going to give the Grizzlies 1 game, and I've been thinking about 2, but I think I'm just going to stick to 1. I'm going to give the Grizzlies 1, but inevitably they lose and Utah moves into the second round. So 4 and 1, moving Jazz. Mitchell is just too good of a playmaker to just kind of ignore if he's back in the lineup. He's shooting 48% from the field. He's getting 85% from the free. He's an 85% free throw shooter, is what I'm trying to say. And you got Gobert, who's going to pick up his 14 points and his 13 rebounds, which is what I think is what he's averaging right now. But the center matchup between these two, Gobert and Valanciunas, is going to be a good one to pay attention to. Once Memphis starts clicking, they will be able to go on a good run, about a good 10-point run, maybe get a little bit ahead. and if they do that, Utah is a team that will just stay comfortable. And they have no problem playing from behind. I think as long as Utah can consistently put up points on the board and keep an eye on Grayson Allen from behind the arc, I think they'll be all right. You don't let Ja Morant get aggressive with you in the paint, because he'll put up points that way. But in the end, again, I think I take Utah over the Grizzlies 4-1, as I have up here. Let's go ahead and move on to our last and final matchup of round 1. Lakers and Suns. Here we have the number 7 seeded Lakers going up against the number 2 seeded, and in my eyes, probably the most undervalued team of the year, the Phoenix Suns. The Suns come into this playoff 7th in offense and 3rd in points allowed. Devin Booker averaged 25, 4, and 4 in the regular season. DeAndre Ayton contributes his 14, 10, and 1. He's got 1 block and 1 steal per game. He's also in the top 5. I think he sits at the number 3 spot in screen assists, with about 6 per game. So what that tells me is he's one to keep the ball moving. He's making plays, whether he's got the ball or whether whether he's just trying to create open guys. He's on the I don't know, LeBron. He has a great amount of confidence in this Lakers team. He's got a great amount of confidence for them to make a deep run into the playoffs. LeBron is somebody you don't want to take lightly, as everybody knows. But now on top of this, you've added the pressure of the playoffs to his intensity. On top of that, you added how the regular season played out with injuries and dropping the team dropping a few spots, and people were kind of doubting him at that time. All this is piling on top of his shoulders. Not good for the Suns. It's only going to make him play that much better. AD, he's always been one of my favorite players, just for the fact that he goes in every day, does what he has to do to get the job done. For at least what I've seen, you don't see the guy complain too much. You don't hear him whining about it. You don't see him get fouled. He's laying on the ground for 15 minutes. He's just that kind of guy with a work ethic that I like. Like I said, at least from what I've seen, and maybe behind the scenes, he's doing all of that. I'll never know. But 25, 7-7 for LeBron coming into this, and 21, 7-3 for Davis. You got the two stars and others who are willing to and capable and willing to produce points on the board, like Schroeder, Caruso, Drummond, who's getting about 12 points a game, Kuzma with 13 points and 6 rebounds. Lakers just seem to be a little better in depth, and when guys need rest, that's going to be huge. I'm going to take the Lakers. I'm going to give them 4-2, probably push 4-3, but I'm going to stick with 4-2 on this one. So Lakers 4-2. Oh. 2-4. So that's it, guys. Going into the first round, the next round, we got the Jazz and Clippers, Nuggets at Lakers. Hopefully these picks are right. We will follow them, and I'll keep track of who I picked compared to who is doing the winning. But I hope this is what it is. I'm more concerned about the teams winning in the end than I am of whether or not they got 4-1. If the Jazz and Grizzlies actually went 4-3, I'm not too bummed about that. I'm just focusing on the team wins at this point. So there's that. I'm going to jump over here. I know Cody did it in his video. He kind of touched on this subject a little bit. I'm going to run through my picks just real quick, just kind of shouting them out, of who I think and where I think they're going to end up, and who's going to make it to the next round in the East. So the first matchup, you got 76ers at Washington. Washington all year, me and Cody have been calling them the Goliath beaters because that's what they have been. But Philly, this is where they're going to shine. I'm taking the Sixers over Washington. I'm going to say they win this series about 4-2. And then you got Philly. Leaving Washington at that number 8 seed and kicking them out of the tournament completely. Next matchup, we got Knicks at Hawks. I like the way the Knicks are playing. I like the way their team is structured. I just like everything about them right now. Hawks, I know they have a couple good guys, but they're a team that doesn't really stick in my mind too much. I know they got Clint Capella and a couple others. Like I said, they just don't stick in my mind. but I think the Knicks are really going to turn it up here and take this series. What did I have written down for them? I'm having them go, again, 4-2. I'm giving the Hawks 2 games. I see them faltering maybe once. I'm just kind of giving them that extra game just because. 4-2, and Knicks are in. This next one, Bucks at Heat. This one, as I said, the Bucks coming into this playoff tournament in the number 3 spot was no surprise to me. I think I mentioned before the All-Star, or right after the All-Star break, this is kind of where the Bucks are going to sit. The lack of confidence that I seen from Giannis in his interview after one of the games, it's not really surprising. I don't want to say surprising again. I'm not really caught off guard by it because I feel like that's just kind of the guy he is. He's more of a realistic guy. You know, who's going to win this next set of matchups? Well, I don't know. Could be us. Could be Heat. You know, could be Santa Claus. So I kind of like that from him. He's kind of a cool, mellow, realistic guy. Got to give him props on that. I do think this will be a good series to watch. But in the end, I'm taking the Bucks 4-3. I think we go all the way here. But Bucks inevitably getting that win there, which sucks for Miami because I like Jimmy Butler and I'd like to see him do well. Obviously, because I'm a Bulls fan. Jimmy Buckets was a Chicago Bull. It's a shame that I gotta kick him out of this tournament so soon. Nets at Boston. It's been downhill for Boston for a very long time. Or at least what seems like a very long time. They were number 4 for the longest time at the beginning of the season. About All-Star break, it's been downhill from there. They dropped to the number 7 seed. Luckily got in, beating the the Wizards, I think is who it was, in the play-ins. I think they did a good job, did what they had to in the play-ins. This is where it ends. I'm taking the Nets. They're finally going to have their 3 main people back in KD, Durant, Harden, and obviously you got, I can never remember his name, Blake Griffin thrown in there as well. I think it'll be a close game, but I don't want to say I'm not going to enjoy it because I love all of basketball. But seeing a team like Boston make it and not a team like the Warriors, I don't know. It just kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. So I'm taking the Nets to win this one. What did I say? 4-2. I'll give Boston 2 games. They get 2 games, and then they get bumped out of the playoffs. So there you have it. 76ers going up against Knicks. Bucks going up against Nets. Which I like that matchup. I want to see them in a playoff matchup. I can't wait for that. Anyway, thanks for coming around and sticking through this video with me. I said it once and I'll say it again. My name is Cory with Ballers on a Budget. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.